Thank you, Alison. High Commissioner of UK to India, Excellency Lily Cameron, Global Director of Arts in British Council, Mr. Mackenzie, the Director for UNESCO in India and South Asia, Mr. Tim Curtis, my colleagues from Ministry of Culture, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a pleasure for me to be here today and participate in the second edition of this Creative Convergence being organized by British Council. I have had a very long association with the British Council, starting from my first interview to be a Shielding Scholar, and I got success in that, and I went to London School of Economics as a Gurukul Scholar for Leadership and Excellence in 2003. So I have a strong association with this institution and also with the UK system of education, and I've had the opportunity to learn and grow in my career with my experience that I gathered as a Shielding Scholar. It's also a great pleasure for me to join at the Creative Convergence Growth Reimagined. I would like to really appreciate this initiative taken by British Council in collaboration with the Government of UK. India and UK have a shared heritage, and we have now a very strong free trade agreement as well. We were looking at a combined India-UK vision 2035, which is part of our comprehensive economic and trade agreement. So it is very apt that we're talking of convergence on the creative economy aspects as well, between the two economies, as well as India standalone moving into a sphere where creative pursuits also contribute in a big way to our global domestic product and also to the growth of India's economy. For India, creative economy is not a small or a niche sector. It's actually central to our overall policy of growth, overall policy of economic development. You must have heard our Honorable Prime Minister many times where he talks about Vikas bhi, Virasat bhi. So whenever there is any issue where the country's policymakers are discussing about the growth strategy of the country, the heritage and cultural aspects always remain central to that debate and central to the planning for India's own vision, which is vision of being a fully developed country by 2047 and transcend the boundaries of being a developing country for so long. For us, creative industries mean livelihoods. It means creation of new jobs. This is one sector which doesn't require too much of capital and which cannot be subject to industrialization. So it cannot be something that can be stolen. The creative abilities of Indians remain with Indians, and the creative skills which generate the products of different types, it may be products which are tangible, it may be products which are intangible, they cannot be, the technology and the concept and the creativity cannot be stolen. It cannot be industrialized. So this remains as our own asset, which we can really capitalize as part of our economic growth cycle. It's also part of India's own ethos because it contributes to our sustainable and resilient economic growth. When there is a technological change happening, especially when we are looking at lots of things that are happening on the AI field, we also feel that this is one sector which transcends the growth of AI. And it is also one sector which needs to have a separate focus and a separate development initiative and a separate regulatory framework to protect this sector from any encroachment by AI or by any other development. So on the one hand, we are looking forward to the new developments or emerging technologies as partners in growth or as some initiatives which can help us to grow in this sector, but also we don't we won't allow any such growth to actually hamper creativity, which is clearly and completely connected to humanity as such. It cannot be taken over by any technological advancement, because this is authentic, this is human, and this is rooted in place. So it's not that culture only supports economies, it actually humanizes it. India's creative economy draws strength from its scale and diversity. For me, when I joined as Secretary of Ministry of Culture, the scope and the canvas of India's cultural landscape has really opened my own vistas. For me to imagine such a diversity without being actually involved directly in the sector was very difficult. But once I got involved in the sector and I've started interacting with various diverse cultural elements of India's cultural landscape, it's an experience which is very difficult to explain. So it is the cultural diversity and the cultural depth of India is something which can be a real asset for the entire world. If we can take this out from our communities, from our regional centers, and take it to the entire world, it will really bring this entire kaleidoscope and the entire color of India's culture to the world, and it will also be a big boost to our artists, to our performers, to the various professions which are connected to our cultural aspects, to our crafts, and it will give a great boost to India's economy as well as be a contributor to the growth of the global economy. It is especially important because this is one sector where women participation is very high. So women participation is high across all cultural sectors. That is also a reason which makes creative economy a powerful lever for inclusive growth. So inclusivity is also inbuilt into an economy which is based on the cultural aspects and cultural assets. From the perspective of Ministry of Culture, our focus is to now move towards integrated creative ecosystems. So 3 or 4 major initiatives we are trying to take. One is to leverage public-private partnerships. So we strongly believe that this is one sector which cannot be left to the hands of the government only. It cannot be the government who's the main driver of growth in cultural ecosystems. The other stakeholders of economy, especially the corporate sector, which is a very growing corporate sector in India, and they have good CSR budgets. If they become partners in our growth story and in all our initiatives, then we can really make an impact which will be a faster impact and which will be a bigger impact. So in all aspects of the mandate that Ministry of Culture has, we've opened it up for private participation. It may be management of our monuments, doing conservation and preservation activities on our heritage, opening up our museums and exhibitions for investments from private sector, also going for partnerships as we did it for repatriation of the Piparwa Buddha relics which came to India as part of our PPP initiative, opening up the National Culture Fund for more participation by the private sector and using those funds for growth of our cultural initiatives, as well as opening up initiatives for India's participation internationally. Like for example, the participation of India in Venice Biennale is again a PPP, where 2 private sector initiatives have come together with Government of India to present India's story internationally on the visual arts scene. So overall, the idea is that creative economy and the cultural renaissance cannot be only something that is to be done by the government alone. So it's not only the private sector or private corporates, we're also looking forward to partnerships with master craftsmen, with artists, with museumologists, with conservation architects, and all other stakeholders in the entire ecosystem. So the scale and the speed at which we want to work would, in my mind, get a great boost if we get all the stakeholders onboarded as we are planning to do. And this onboarding of stakeholders would also mean good international partnerships. So this partnership that we are looking forward to have with British Council and Government of UK is part of that initiative itself, where we are bringing more and more partners in the fold of the work of our mandate, so that we can really make an impact at a quicker pace. We are taking a steady step-by-step strides. Another example of opening up initiatives on creative economy was the recent Lalit Kala Academy exhibition. So we have been organizing a competition every year. This was the 64th exhibition in 64 years, where Lalit Kala Academy invited entries from budding, emerging artists of India in the visual arts space. And out of 6,000 entries, 283 were selected by the jury, out of which 20 were to be given an award, a national award by LK. But these 283 exquisite pieces of art were there with us, and this time we opened them up for sale. So it was not only an exhibition, but this was also a market access for these budding artists or these emerging artists of India